And people are trying to say that drag queens aren't sexual, and now we're encouraging children to be drag queens, when drag queens are inherently sexual, ergo sexualizing children. Hello everybody, welcome back. Episode 21, some madness from libs of TikTok, the series in which I, a humble bearded British man, try and make sense of some of this madness. Are you ready? Let's go, straight in. You know what to do. Can we just be serious for a second, right? Even if we just forget what it's all about, right? If we forget what all of that messaging is about, right? It's still political, can we agree? And political propaganda should not be in classrooms. So it doesn't matter if it's pride for lobbying. Like, there shouldn't be lobbying groups in kindergartens. It's like, if it's a political thing, it should be out of the classroom. So if they're going to identify as a political movement, shouldn't it be banned from classrooms? Just a thought.
And that's what you've done too.
Oh, Jesus.
There's nothing more to say. No more race to play.
I hope you realize this is actually how it is. Like, there's nothing permanent until they are an adult. Before that, it's just pronouns, clothes, puberty blockers to buy them a few years, to meet with a therapist to make sure that, like, they're persistent and consistent. But even that is not permanent.
Not dating trans people.
Again with the Trojan horses, right? Haircuts and clothes. Fair enough. If you want to be really crazy and you want to let your kid do that, fair enough, you do that. But you can't just slip in puberty blockers and say, oh, it just puts on. It doesn't. You're doing irreparable harm to your child. And furthermore, I would like to add, I have yet to meet a man who was once a boy who enjoyed getting his haircut. You don't enjoy getting your haircut until you're around 10, 11. Maybe you'll start enjoying it then. Until then, it's terrifying. So, to transition a child because they don't like getting their haircut is madness to me.
People is not a preference. Not dating blondes is a preference. Not dating people who are, I don't know, shorter than 5'6" is a preference. Not dating people with brown eyes is a preference. Being trans is not a specific characteristic. Thus, you can't label it as a preference. That's just called bigotry. No one's forcing you to date trans people, but don't cover up your discriminatory bias in the name of preference, because the logic doesn't add up. Like I've said in many a video, the logic of transphobia never adds up.
Don't bring logic in this room, bitch. You're not ready, right? I want my partner to be able to conceive children. That means that if I met somebody, no matter how amazing they were, they would not be able to provide me with children. They would not be a suitable partner. You cannot show me, right, a man who was born a man with a womb. You can't do it, right? There is no man, no biological male on this planet that will be a suitable partner for me, because I want my lineage to be my bloodline. I want it to be passed down like most men do. Like, for me to say that I want my partner to be able to conceive, like, yeah, like, what else do you want me to say? It's not me being bigoted. Like, if you were to get with a guy and the guy was to say, I'm sterile, and you were to say, oh, I don't want to go any further, that's fair enough, is it not? Is that not a preference? Like, logically, it's fair. Like, what you're talking about here, if you want to bring logic in, right, is you're talking about the severity of the preference. So you want somebody with straight teeth, in which case I'm ruled out because I'm British. But if you want somebody who's fertile, then that's like, it's a bit more of a drastic requirement that you have. So it's still logical. It's just they're not the same thing. It's apples and oranges, but they're both fruit.
This is not like racism, it is racism. Anti-fatness is rooted in anti-blackness. And the reason why people are pursuing thinness is because they're pursuing proximity to whiteness. The reason why people hate fat people is because people hate black people. And appearing curvier, bigger is associated with blackness, especially black women. And that's why they're discriminated in the workplace, overly sexualized. And this has gone back for centuries and centuries. All systems of oppression, capitalism, sexism, racism, it all comes back to white supremacy, which is the foundation of the fabric of America and rules every sector and aspect of our society.
Hello!
They love word salad, don't they? They just spew loads of stuff. All I heard there was, I'm a victim, please help me. That's all I heard, right? Being fat is objectively unhealthy. It's objectively bad for you. Like, you can pick any subject that you like, right? And if you make it obese, it'll be worse off, right? So subjectively, you can think what you like. It's objectively true. Like anything. Take my cat Jasmine, who sat there asleep, right? If she was obese, she'd be worse off. It's that simple. It's got nothing to do. So me keeping my cat and my dog at a healthy weight is rooted in white supremacy. Okay.
We've been receiving a couple comments like this, so I'm here to respond. We've partnered with the YWCA to give out free gender-affirming products to members of our community. We are receiving these products from the YWCA for free. We offer chest binders in the sizes extra small to 5XL. We offer packing briefs from sizes extra small to 3XL. And we offer tucking gaffs from the sizes extra small to 2XL. Our size ranges differ depending on product. If you have any other questions, comments, or complaints, feel free to contact us at this number or this email. Have a joyous day.
Why are we sexualizing children? Like, I don't get it. So we're encouraging little girls to bind their breasts flat and then stuff things down their pants to make it look like they've got a penis, so that they feel better in their mind. This is crazy. This is absolutely crazy. Like, there's been times in history when humans have bound their breasts. Like, ancient Roman women used to bind their breasts because in ancient Roman times, flat-chestedness was a sign of, like, prosperity and richness, because you didn't need to breastfeed your kids. You could either afford a wet nurse or they'd use a goat. Like, that's what poor people would use. They'd use a goat. But, like, if you were a rich Roman senator's wife, for example, you'd bind your chest, you'd bind your daughter's chest. It's still crazy to do it. It does, like, you can justify it in many ways. Doesn't make it good.
You burned my house to the ground! My family's dead! What do I do?
My friend, I know that you mean...
Some of them happen so fast, guys. Some of them happen so quick.
The ground! My family's dead! What do I do?
My friend, I know that you mean well, but I need to let you know that this is not true. First things first, paganism is not one religion, and pagans have many varied beliefs. Now, I'm something of a pagan myself, and I can personally assure you that fey pronouns are not offensive to me. And if they're offensive to you, it doesn't really matter to me because they remain my pronouns. And now for the part of the program where I issue corrections, because this is very interesting. I don't know why you chose fey self pronouns, or to use the word paganists when pagans would work just fine. I get the distinct feeling that you've never Googled this to confirm it, which is something that I highly advise you do before you repeat stuff in the future. Have a great day.
Hello.
Tinfoil hat time. Are you ready? This is quite clearly just an attempt and an effort from the CCP to make us all completely delusional. And what the logical outcome of this, like the slippery slope, is a fallacy. Like, you can't say, oh, A will be lead to B. You can't do that. But, like, realistically, if you imply Occam's razor, the most probable is probably the solution, right? If you do that, everybody's going to start fighting everybody else, because everybody's going to be offended by everything. Like, one of my beautiful viewers commented saying, like, if there's a hurricane and the hurricane's got a woman's name, you can't even say that woman's name anymore. This is where it's going, people. Like, you won't even be able to say the word learn daily. Like, you won't be able to say the word learn in schools anymore because I'm a bigot. That's how it's going to work. So it's just, it's getting ridiculous. So there's a dude now with pink hair appropriating paganism to use it as pronouns for his self-identity, and what everybody else who is a pagan, who's offended by it, is a bigot. It's madness, absolute madness. I'm sorry that you have to wade through this swamp of bullshit with me, but it's better than being alone.
Hello, yes, I thought I should probably address this comment. I identify as gray gender, which means I feel ties to certain genders, but it's really hard to describe, it's really hard to define. For me, it's really close to being gender fluid. I just don't personally feel like I have strong enough, consistent enough, like repeated enough dysphoria to call myself gender fluid. And in the end, I don't really care how people perceive me. Hence, gray gender, that's its definition.
If you didn't care how people perceived you, your hair would be all raggedy. You wouldn't have makeup on. There'd be no earrings. I'm just saying.
The thing is, sometimes I do feel dysphoria. And sometimes it's intense. So essentially, I will never care what gender of pronouns, what gendered compliments, what gendered questions you have for me. Occasionally, I will be feeling a certain set of pronouns more. Pronouns do not equal gender, but for me personally, they do. Thank you for asking.
So, something doesn't mean something, but to me it does. That's what I heard at the very end there. So, in amongst all of that word salad was, I get dysphoria, but the dysphoria is not consistent, and I go through bouts. Meaning, she doesn't want to commit to any drastic decisions because she knows that she goes through bouts, right? And then the second thing that she said was, I feel it. That was effectively what she said. I feel it. So A is equal to A, but to me personally, it's not. Like, that's what she said right at the very end. Like, gender isn't, pronouns aren't gender, but to me personally, they are. So they're open. It's just openly admitting that they're delusional. Ugh, I don't know how people can just like ignore reality. How are they that comfortable doing it? Is it because people enable it? Let me know in the comment section, and light that comment section up with why you think this happens.
Regarding like, because I think really the goal of these of activists is to get you to stop, whatever that means. And so regarding psychological warfare, which is basically what's been happening with doxing and all that, how do you react when you feel that someone is implementing psychological warfare on you?
I completely ignore it. I'll literally just tune it out. And it takes a lot of work to get to that place where you could really do that. But I was telling Tucker on the show, like, it's totally just noise. I completely tune it out and I sleep really well at night.
Laid back. Autism's a superpower because I could care less what people think. I had to learn how to read people, to tell what they were feeling and thinking and how they were like expressing. I had to learn that. So I can ignore that easy as pie.
For people who like to pass yourselves off as superior in every way, you sure do get incredibly offended and booty hurt when black people say that they don't want to be around you. Black people not wanting to be around white folks has historical precedence. And the only thing it does is hurt your fragile ego. White people, on the other hand, not wanting to be around black people is racist, because the only reason that white people don't want to be around black people is because of stereotypes that they invented to make black people seem more dangerous or hypersexualized, or simply because they don't like the color of our skin. You remember that scene in Pocahontas?
These white men are dangerous.
Or this song. Granted, this movie has some incredible inaccuracies to support its white savior narrative, but those two scenes are incredibly paced.
You know, there's one...
So the first thing he did was conflate white supremacists with all white people, right? Which is racism check number one, right? So the white people that think they're superior, that don't want to be around black people, are racist. Yes, 100% we agree, right? But not all white people are white supremacists, you fucking idiot, right? That's not how it works. And then you went on to say that white people not wanting to be around black people is racist because white people have created stereotypes and over-sexualized black people, right? Then you go on to show stereotypes of white people that demonize white people to support your racism against them. You can't see that there's a pair of shoes here and you're only wearing one of them. You are a buffoon. A complete and utter buffoon. A race-baiting idiot. That's what you are, my friend. That's what you are. My friend, I don't even allow that statement to pass. I withdraw that. Fellow human, you are a fucking buffoon. Fellow human. That's as close as you're going to get.
Inaccuracies to support its white savior narrative. But those two scenes are incredibly paced.
You know, there's one great distinction between black folks and white folks. Black people have the moral high ground. They do. Black people have when you do a comparison morally between white people and black people, you have to take away one thing: supremacy. Black people do not have a culture of black supremacy. However, white people do. So white people are narcissists, social, cultural, systemic narcissists is who we are because of our racism, because of the lies of white supremacy. So how can white people have morality as long as we have bought into the lies of white supremacy? We can't. And how does that feel to know that black people have a moral high ground? How does that feel to know as a white person that you are sick, twisted, narcissistic, and immoral, highly immoral, and inhumane? I don't use the N-word. What are you doing to fight and dismantle racism that benefits you, white person? Nothing. I ignore it, I deny it, or you perpetrate it. Those are the three things we do. We ignore it, we deny it, or we perpetrate it. That's what most white people do. I hate to say it, but it's true. And that's why I say we're social narcissists, and we have no moral high ground racially. We are sick, hurting people. Hurt people, hurt people. And we've been hurting a long damn time. We're hurting.
All right.
Someone hurt you, my friend, severely, left you with mental trauma beyond repair, in my estimation, right? You don't understand what racism means, right? It's possible to be racist against one's own race, right? If you think, as an Asian man, as a Filipino, if you think that everybody that looks like you thinks like you, that makes you racist because you believe that one race acts the same. Like, you just don't understand. You don't understand what you're talking about. You've just sat there and spouted lots of anti-white racism. So because of my melanin level, my behaviour will correspond to a chart that you've created, right? That's racist, my friend. My friend, again, being withdrawn, fellow human. That is racist. And for you to go on a tirade with all this anti-white sentiment sprinkled in amongst it, and then say, I don't use the N-word, that doesn't make you not racist. That means that you're not racist to black people. Congratulations, you've ticked one of the boxes. But there's still loads of other races that you shouldn't be racist against. It's not okay to be racist against anybody. So as a white person, which is a label that I'm not even fond of, I don't understand why it's a characteristic that matters, right? A British man is more valid than a white man, because white man could be anywhere. If I lined up a Frenchman, a Spaniard and a Greek, tell me where they're from. You couldn't, right? So it's completely irrational to even think that to target your own race and be racist against your own race isn't racist because you're part of that group. It doesn't make sense, dude. It really doesn't.
Alright, so here are some recommendations for a 5th grade classroom library that have queer rep, where the queer rep is the main character. Middle grade is not my forte, but I do have some suggestions to try and give a wide variety of representation. Unfortunately, I ran into an issue where some of my books were at home and some of my books were in my classroom, so it's not going to be the most streamlined recommendation list. We're going to start off with Melissa's story by Alex Gino. The author has requested that we change the name on as many of the books as possible in order to reflect the character's actual identity. So this one we've got a trans girl contemporary, middle grade. Some more trans girl rep is Pet. This one I believe is technically young adult, but it's on the shorter end of young adult. And this one is Black trans girl rep, and it is fantasy. For some Black sapphic girl rec, we've got Hurricane Child by Case and Calendar. This one is firmly middle grade. And then we've got the Not Your Sidekick series by C.B. Lee. These cover a variety of different representations depending on the book. They are middle grade and they are superhero based, so a lot of kids are into this. So that is the middle grade that I have at home. but a couple other things to consider are Rick by Alex Gino for some ACE representation, and then any of the middle grade books by Ashley Herring Blake will also be good ones. And then for your kids who like to read up, Simon versus the Homo Sapiens Agenda and the other Simon verse books are really safe. They're not going to have anything too out there, and the kids tend to love them. I know that in 6th grade that was a really popular poll, so I imagine that it would work for 5th as well. Also, for some graphic novel recommendations, because those are always fun, I have Drama by Raina Telgemeier in my classroom, and then The Girl from the Sea is also middle grade graphic novel and queer.
Generally speaking, there's 3.
Do we ever question why representation matters? Did we ever question that the things that we are representing to the children so that children can see them and the thing can be represented? Do we ever question if that thing should be represented? Because, like I said, the slippery slope is a fallacy, but where the fuck does this end? Is bestiality going to be represented soon? It's going to be like Jimmy and his dog, but not what you expect. Like, what's going to happen? It's getting irrational now. It really is. It's getting to the point where people are going to, like, it's going to create a real divide. It's going to create a real divide. Is that the reason it's happening? Is it all being done on purpose? Are we just pawns in a big game?
3 kind of big buckets of reasons why someone might engage in intentional weight loss. First is desirability, second, health, third, stigma. But at the end of the day, all of those are rooted in fat phobia in different ways, and I'll explain. First, desirability. That is kind of the most obvious when it comes to...
If this woman tries to tell me that I should be attracted to fat women, right, she just needs to shut up, right? She just needs to shut up. It's cope, because she wants a fucking handsome man that wants her, but she wants to eat a burrito every day, twice a day. She wants both, and she can't have both, and she's now dishing out cope in the form of word salad. Are you ready?
Fat phobia. We currently live in a society that uplifts thinness, able-bodiedness, whiteness, cisness, and heterosexuality as the things that are most desirable. And so if you are wanting to
most common
lose weight in order to become more desirable, you are upholding a fat phobic beauty standard, as well as, white supremacy and all that jazz. So next is health. What we know is that weight is not a good indicator of someone's health, and also your health is not an indicator of your worth.
Your weight is a good indicator of your health. It really is. What she's done there is she's taken the sentence that weight is a good indicator for your health, comma, but it can be very vague from patient to patient, right? Meaning, all of us, if we fell beneath a certain weight, we would need special care because we were malnourished. And all of us, if we get over a certain weight, will have limited heart function, limited lung function, limited mobility, objectively provable, right? With any subject. Take a subject, make it fat, it's worse, right? It's worse off, right? So, this entire argument about fat phobia, if you boil it down into one little sentence, fat people want people to find them attractive, so they're going to guilt trip them into doing it. Fat people want people to find them attractive, so they're going to guilt trip you. If you don't want to fuck me, you're fat phobic, and you're a narcissist, and you're a white supremacist, and you're a heteronormative bigot fascist. Like, they're going to come up with all these terms to try and label you. Tom McDonald's got a beautiful song. It's called Names. Go and listen to it. They don't mean a fucking thing, right? They don't mean a thing. It's word salad. That's just the dressing.
You can have health and body related goals for yourself that are not about fat phobia and not about weight loss. So let me give you an example. You might decide that you have a goal of hiking a particular mountain in your area. Now, you would be engaging in different types of movement in order to achieve that goal. You may or may not lose weight in doing that. And in fact, there's lots of fat mountaineers and hikers. Third bucket reason is that you might be facing extreme fat phobia and anti-fat bias in your own life, and you have personally mentally hit a wall where you can't deal with it anymore, and so you decide to intentionally lose weight. That is actually the case with Roxanne Gay, who is very tall. They are like 6 foot or 6'1", and prior to their weight loss surgery, they would have been categorized as a super fat. So being a super fat and being that tall comes with a particular type of physical accessibility challenge as well as anti-fatness. And so for that reason, Roxanne Gay elected to have weight loss surgery. But it's really important that if you still go through with intentional weight loss, that you don't sacrifice fat liberation politics, because otherwise it's still just fat phobia, even if you're doing it for your mental health and accessibility.
Meet Australia.
So even if you do it for your mental health and accessibility, it's still fat phobia. That there was a fucking monumental mountain of word salad, right? She hoped by spewing that I would find her more attractive. That was her goal. It was her goal that I would sit here and I would see the error of my ways and see the beauty hidden beneath the blubber. Unfortunately, that didn't work. And if anything, I'm now more repulsed. Fat liberation politics. I've never heard such bollocks in all my life.
Australia's youngest drag queen, 13-year-old Candy Featherbottom, also known as Logan out of drag.
Hi everybody, I'm Candy Featherbottom.
And 15-year-old Queen Cherry West from Edinburgh, Scotland, also known as Sam Carling out of drag.
Hello divas, I am Cherry West, the Red Berry of Edinburgh, and I am a 15-year-old drag queen.
Though from different parts of the world, these queens have more than just their young age in common, but their passion for all things drag. Candy's love and passion for singing and performing came from watching a family.
This is why you need a mental health animal. I'm glad Jasmine's in the room. This is fucked up. I don't even want to watch this. I'm not even going to look at it. I'm not even going to comment on it. I'm going to comment on it now and then let you guys watch the rest of it. I think this is fucking child abuse. That's what I think this is. This is atrocious.
Friendly performance
Sickening.
At the local bowls club by Group Taboo, and led to her drag debut at the North Ipswich Bowls Club in Brisbane at just 10 years
Literally called Group Taboo, and the debuted at 10 years old.
Getting up on a stage and, you know, bringing that smiles to those people's faces is why I do it.
And Cherry's inspiration came from watching her drag icon, Bianca Del Rio.
A queen that inspired me quite a lot was Bianca Del Rio from season 6 of Drag Race. I recently seen her in Edinburgh performing, and she's absolutely incredible. I'm obsessed with her.
The Trailblazers are challenging perceptions on young queens through not only their stellar performances, but through speaking up for all of the kids finding out who they are.
I think it's important for there to be more young drag queens out there because, especially at school for kids, they have to be this certain person and they have to be in this little box. So for me, drag is a way of expressing myself, and I think kids just need to be able to be out there. And kids need to be who they are.
And over in Scotland, Cherry explains that not only is it important for the students to push for LGBTQ+ artistry support, but help from the schools is crucial.
I'm lucky enough to have an LGBTQ+ group at my school where there's so many trans men and women. There's non-binary people who just are all so supported from this one teacher who is part of the LGBT group that is running it.
And with that support, more queens could be encouraged to bring their drag to school and get glam for their proms.
I would love to go to prom in school, but I would feel quite sad for the other people because, girl, I would show them up. I would be having my Cinderella moment. I would have a big, massive, sparkly outfit. Like, I would be obsessed with it.
But through all of the positivity, there's no denying that young queens are a target for hate. As Candy explains, articles would target her parents for him being too young in the world of drag. And Logan's parents' response melted our hearts.
If it's something that your child loves doing, it's in a safe environment, and, you know, why not?
We couldn't agree more.
How the fuck is it safe?
And Logan for sure doesn't let any of the criticism get to him either.
That's water off a duck's back now, and I would rather put my energy in focusing into the people that love me than don't like me.
Can I get an amen?
But with the criticism aside, the positive truly shines through, as Cherry explains how drag lets you express your art and lets you be your true self in a safe space and a community that love you. And we couldn't have put it better ourselves.
I'll try and keep this succinct. Drag is a form of adult entertainment. I even did a poll the other day saying are drag shows for kids? If not, what about Drag Race? And most people said it's either complicated or yes. Nobody said no. Nobody said yes, sorry. Nobody said yes, it's made for kids. Everybody said no, it's not made for kids, or it's complicated when it comes to Drag Race, right? That child is underage and they are performing like softcore sexual acts. Like they twerk and dance and gyrate around like strippers do, because drag racing comes like drag shows come from men imitating women and being overly slutty. So now we've got children being overly slutty. The songs that they sing, the fact that they have big fake prosthetic boobs, giant strap-on cocks to the front of them. This is the things that drag queens do, and people are trying to say that drag queens aren't sexual, and now we're encouraging children to be drag queens, when drag queens are inherently sexual, ergo sexualizing children. It's fucked up. It pisses me off. It makes me boil.
So let's talk about why it's all white women. In Portland, Oregon, one of the most liberal cities in the country, Joanne Hardesty, a long-time community organizer and activist and recent city council member who actually did something about the homeless population, houseless population, as well as helping create the, I'm not living in Portland right now, but it's the citizen group that comes and deals with mental health crisis, right, instead of police, got taken out of office on Tuesday and replaced by Renee Gonzalez, who is an inexperienced person who's basically running against an unpopular black woman. So the liberal city of Portland decided to listen to the propaganda against a black woman who'd been framed by the Portland Police Bureau for an Oregonian article about, I can't even remember now, it was like about her having an interaction with police that didn't even happen, a fabrication. But the racism is so strong in one of the bluest cities in the nation. And I have no doubt that if Roe hadn't been overturned, we would have been looking at a red wave. So I'm saying all this because I understand exactly what liberal women feel. It's not me, it's that evangelical bitch over there. It's those crazy fascists. We don't understand that we are part of the ecosystem of the oppressor class, and when we don't do anything about the oppressor class, we are just part of the it problem. So we are joined to those evangelical women. We are joined to those privileged women because we are also benefiting from the oppression that they vote for. And do we actually vote ever against our own oppression? I mean, against our own privilege? No. Because you know what happens? We go to a protest, we do the thing, but when it really comes time to show up, there's always something a little off about that leader or that person. Because the racism is so profoundly strong. And we are brainwashed. And when you talk about evangelical women,
We are brainwashed is the only thing that she said that I could actually pick out was true.
Being in a cult, they are in a higher level of the cult we are in, which is the cult of white supremacy. Liberalism is its own version of that cult. We just hold intellectual men in academia in the place of all those pastors, and don't they do all the same things with sexual abuse and all that crap? But what they do is they say, oh, you can have a right to choose whether or not to have a child.
So she's just said that she's in a cult, right? Made a video not so long ago about this is culty, right? They're saying it from the horse's mouth. She's saying it, and she's just said, don't know if it was a little slip there, right? But they've put all these people on pedestals, and they're also doing all of this sexual abuse stuff. Listen, just listen.
We just hold intellectual men in academia in the place of all those pastors, and don't they do all the same things with sexual abuse and all that crap? But what they do is they...
So they're holding people up that do all the sexual abuse and stuff. They're in a cult. She's just said, I'm in a cult, and the leaders above me is sexual abusers. That's effectively what she's just said. These people are crazy. They're fucking idiots. Right? Honestly, if I met you in real life and you were this foolish, I'd stop talking to you. Anybody who knows me, like in reality, there's a couple of yous that are subscribed. What's up, boys? I know who yous are. Right? In the comment section, right? Eton, an original Hatman, right? Do I suffer fools lightly? Or if you're an idiot, do I just... Do you know what I mean? I've got no time for them. And these people are idiots, honestly. You can see the cogs turning, trying to think of something to say. I've always got something to say.
Say, oh, you can have a right to choose whether or not to have a child. They're not as concerned with the propagation of tons of white children. Just a couple, right? They got to make sure they have a couple. Maybe through a couple marriages. It's all white women because it's not just how we vote. It's what we do.
That's problematic!
Indeed it is, Rob. Indeed it is. The idiocy, the reason I was saying she's such an idiot is because the people that are trying to fight racism are trying to fight racism with racism. They're fucking stupid. These are the kind of people that put fires out with gasoline. The kind of people that help a sinking ship by pouring water into it. That's what they are doing right now. It doesn't make any sense to me. But if you made it to the end of this one, you're a legend. Peace.